Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not part related. Why? Because I need time to reflect. Recently, I found out that Kitaro Miura, the writer of Berserk, died because of heart problems. I'm really sad about this, I mean it. I've always joked that I'm scared Miura's going to die before he even finishes Berserk, and lo and behold, it happened. If there's one good thing I can say about it, is that he died after giving Casca back her sanity so she could be awesome again. Beyond that, the story's unfinished now. It kind of hurts just knowing that. And thinking about all the things that Berserk gave not only just me, but the entire anime and fantasy community. A lot of great storytelling, and in my opinion, sometimes I feel like Berserk is better than Game of Thrones. For some people, they say, "Oh yeah, their favorite series fantasy is Game of Thrones," but give me Berserk any day of the week. So I figured the best way I could do to honor his legacy is by doing a fanfic. So, without further ado, here's Berserk Happy Au by Stinging Cake. Enjoy. Berserk Happy Au by Stinging Cake. She was standing there with her back to him, a gentle breeze playing with her soft-looking hair. It's rather picturesque, if he thought so to himself. And lonely. You! Guts greeted. He joined her on the secluded breezeway as he looked over the castle garden. How did he get there? Well, after training for a few hours, he got bored. Nobody had any time for him right now, what with the wedding and preparations and all. So he had been wandering the grounds for a while. Guts realized he hadn't had a chance to talk to Casca since he got back. She was the only one he hadn't caught up with. How elegant, she said sharply, so he could clear his way. Great. Casca was in one of her moods. He wondered if it were a time of the look on his face stopped him from even finishing those thoughts. She would probably be able to smell what he was thinking and then focus even more of her anger on him. She then sighed as she realized what she'd said. Her shoulders sagged a bit. Casca then looking back to whatever she had been saying before she interrupted her. I'm sorry, she said. I'm just a little stressed. Not saying anything, Gus walked up to the railing next to Casca and followed her gaze onto the subject, or subjects of her attention. Princess Charlotte, accompanied by her fiancé Griffith, were in the gardens, casually talking. Even from this distance, they could tell they seemed to be in their own little world, despite the many chaperones surrounding them. Charlotte was in love with Griffith. Casca was in love with Griffith. Hell, half the court was in love with Griffith, and Guts wished it were just the women. Although knowing Griffith, he probably doesn't mind that it was the men. Oh wait, this is the Happy AU, where Griffith is not the world's most unrepentant, complete asshole. While some, the princess included, believed Griffith was motivated by love, most with half a brain figure he just wanted to be king one day. And as far as Guts knew, the latter were right. It was, an honest-to-God miracle that the engagement even happened in the first place. The foul play seemed to be affected at least partially. Some were angry that a man of such low birth was going to be their ruler, but others were impressed that such a brilliant man made it. They knew if his ambitions included helping the kingdom prosper, surely he would be able to do it. Classic Griffith. Looking back at Casca, Guts was stuck with realization. He sighed and started. You have to understand. I know, alright, she interrupted. She's the only way to fulfill his dream without breaking his peace, and he's probably fulfilling her dream of being swept away by a knight in shining armor. Gus was confused. What would a present want with a lonely knight? He tried to hide his puzzlement, but Casca saw through his facade. I always forget you never had a childhood. Well, considering what he went through as a child, she said, There's a lot of fairy tales that talk of heroic princes and knights that have rescued a damsel in distress from the evil monster. Most little girls dream of such things, even real princesses, it seems. She put down her hands resting on the railing. I'm happy for him. I really am. The feminine persona earlier faded away from to a tired, defeated demeanor. Most of the thick of their voice. I just. She wasn't going to cry, was she? Gus didn't know how to help if she started crying. Casca's voice broke him out of his air turmoil. It's just. She choked up. I never realized I never had a chance to begin with. Tears started welling in her eyes. Not in a million years. Not with the stars aligned. A single tear traced down her cheek. I thought I could be satisfied with being his sword. But I can't even be that anymore. He's just soaring so far out of reach. It was the dream of a stupid woman, and I woke up. She wobbled a bit, and with her so close to the railing made him nervous. There was a sizable drop, and it wasn't like there was a river under this fall, too. Gently as he could, Guts grasped her shoulders and led her away from the edge to a bench. She all but collapsed on him as soon as he sat down. You two, she choked out, sobs starting, always go on and on about your dreams. So you should understand. You know, one thing I love about Casca's and Guts' relationship is how different it is from what she feels for Griffith. It shows a more stable relationship, even when we get to, they don't want to be one sword or one shield or stuff like that. They want to help each other. Guts doesn't see her as anything but his equal. He doesn't see her as anything but a person. Guess like you owe a lot to that, to the fact that he fights with her and he's been with her for so long that they've come to a genuine understanding. In a way, I think Casca does too. There's a reason why I love this couple so much. Guts awkwardly put his arms around her and she cried in earnest. He didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. Casca's sobs were muffled by his chest, and her tears soaked through his shirt. Strange to see Casca in such a state. It was a sight she trusted few people with. So fragile, so open. If not for the reason he was holding her and the fact she was crying, the situation would have been great. She was a woman, a pretty one to say the least. She felt small, almost delicate if not for her muscles. I wonder how she would take that if he told her. Probably as an insult, but Guts didn't mean it that way. He didn't exactly know how he meant it, but it was definitely a good thing. At least, like when they first met, she stopped hating him so much. In fact, Judo was to believe hatred was on the opposite of what she felt for him. While he trusted Judo on many things, Guts wasn't so sure. Guts didn't know how much time passed before the crying finally stopped. As much as he wanted her to, once she did, he would lose the excuse to hold her. And Guts found he liked her songs very much. It felt right as a sword in his hand, and yet completely different as well. Oh, I bet there's a sword he would feel comfortable in his hand, so wing! Sobs eventually turned to sniffles. They eventually stopped altogether. She didn't move from where she was sitting, which was practically his lap. Gut wasn't complaining. Casca's voice was still raw from crying when she started apologizing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's fine, he said, cutting her off. She listened to her embrace and Guts did the same, lying to grab an embroidered tissue from her pocket. She wiped the tears from her eyes and blew her nose. Quietly, he asked, You know why I had to leave? Maybe. Her voice was small. Casca crumpled the tissue, which was closer expressed and had the symbol of the band of the hawk embroidered on it. She was putting it back in her pocket, and Guts asked in jest, You have personalized nut rags, eh? Well, that's changed since I left. Casca looked confused until she saw the sigil. Well, actually, the princess made this one. Earlier, she invited me to join her in embroidery. I couldn't exactly refuse. Her voice trailed off as her thoughts dragged her back briefly. Couldn't think of a way to explain I haven't sewn for fun since I left home. She tried to teach me, but... He smiled gently. The famed lady commander of the Hawks, master of sword and war, bested by a needle. I believe definitely patched me up. She rolled her eyes, like you could do better. I don't need to. I'm not a woman. She punched him, almost playfully, and he had a smile on her lips. After a thought crossed his mind, he asked, Can I see it? What? The one you made. Oh. She rose her out of her pocket. Sure. She pulled out a square of fabric, identical to the first one except for the sizzle on it. This one was messy, barely recognizable save for the color and general shape. The stitches were uneven, and there were stains that looked suspiciously like blood. There were places where the stitches had been taken out and redone multiple times. But Casca had made it. Tia created this. Guts couldn't remember if he ever made anything for the purpose of making it. No, maybe for the purpose of killing, but not ours. Seeing on the smile on his face, a smile he hadn't realized was there still, Casca said, Look, I already know it's bad, so no need to tease me. No, I really like it, Gus said sincerely. Casca narrowed her eyes in skepticism. Really? Really? Well, if you like it so much, why don't you keep it? Okay. Gus put the cough in his pocket. Casca wasn't expecting that. What? Were you going to show it to the guys or something? Well, it wasn't hard to accept he liked her. Something of hers. It's not like he ever mocked her. In fact, Gus respected Casca a great deal. It was her that was always cool in the past. That was how he remembered it, at least. He answered her question with a look as he grew quiet. I'm sorry, that's not fair in me, she said, the fragility returning to her voice. Here you were comforting me in my selflessness, and I don't even have the decency to thank you. Nothing to thank, he responded. Casca stood up and saw the dark tear spots on his shirt. Her eyes met and Gus saw something. Next time I go, He wasn't blushing, but he could feel his face and neck heating up. 2 people were looking for a dream, probably have a better chance than one. She looked at him oddly and smiled shyly. Thank you, Casca said quietly. Flashing a look at the Terminason, quickly slipped in and gave him a kiss on the cheek. She then effectively ran away as dignified as she could. His eyes following her retreat until she turned a corner and was out of sight. He stood up and turned back towards the balcony. Griffin was still talking to the princess. She seemed enraptured at his words. Though I heard now, Casca was strong and it had sense to her. This would all work out for the best. Or was he just thinking that because she kissed him? Either way, the future was full of opportunity. Turning the opposite way Casca went, Gus continued his stroll down the breezeway. Well, that was the first chapter. I gotta admit, great setup. Everybody's a character right now, and don't think I didn't notice Casca was doing a very ladylike thing in the old knightly way. Giving somebody an object of hers, especially her knight. It's a very important symbol of love. Why do you think in fall I even had Rarity mention something as such? Which was why she was wearing her color. She was wearing spice colors and giving Rainbow Dash her colors. Yes, I'll admit it. Some of those ballroom scenes are from my own love of doing ballroom scenes, and it was a little bit of Berserk. Because I loved those moments. Those had some really good character moments in. Oh my gosh, I gotta go read Berserk. I'll be... sorry, right back. One down, thousands more to go. See you next time.